Hello buddy, it's Bendominator, and today I'm going to be talking about how the seasons have been corresponding and what the future seasons could be. Before we get into the video, if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new to the channel and you enjoy the content, and if you want to use my supporter creator Bendominator in the item shop, you can to support me. #ad, thank you to everybody that uses that code. Now, this is a very popular thing that's been going around ever since Chapter 2 Season 1 began, is that the seasons have kind of been fitting together a little bit. I mean, you have Chapter 1 Season 1 and Chapter 2 Season 1, which obviously share very similar themes and vibes. They're both very simplistic, they're both very, not like a lot of story going on. Of course, Chapter 2 has a lot more in the background that's happening, but both are very simple, and I feel like that's the easiest comparison to make. But then you go on to Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 1 Season 2, and it's a bit harder to draw a comparison. Now, I can draw a comparison between Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 1 Season 3 because they're both kind of based on a bit of a spy background. Of course, Chapter 2 Season 2 has that more as the focus, but in Chapter 1 Season 3, it's very, very much in the background with just like a bit of the battle pass and having like John Wick in the battle pass. It just kind of gives off that vibe, but it's not really explicitly shown. But of course that doesn't really matter because Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 1 Season 3 don't line up. We're more focused on the actual numbers lining up, like example Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 1 Season 2. So now we got Chapter 2 Season 3 and Chapter 1 Season 3, which the connection is there, but it is very much in the background. Chapter 2 Season 3 had a bit of a water theme, but it also had a tiny bit of a space theme. There was some space themed cosmetics in the battle pass, and there was a small event challenge that involved getting a spaceship into a rift of some kind, just out of the island, which I thought was going to lead to something, but nothing really ever happened with it. And that was pretty much what people gathered, was that that was kind of the space connection between Chapter 2 and Chapter 1 of Season 3, because Chapter 1 of Season 3 had some space-themed cosmetics in the Battle Pass, but not really much more than that, other than the meteor that was seen at the very end, but introduced at the beginning of Season 4. So yes, there are small connections between those, and I can definitely believe that a lot more than the Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 1 Season 2 connections, because honestly, I don't really see any between those two seasons. Now, the next few seasons is where the connections start being a lot more in your face, with Chapter 2 Season 4 and Chapter 1 Season 4 both being mainly about superheroes. And the theme of superheroes was very integral to both of these seasons, but the only difference is that the superhero theme in this chapter was a lot more based on Marvel. Now, whether this was a pure coincidence or whether this was planned is really up in the air, but I have a feeling that it's kind of a coincidence, and I'll go into that a bit later. And now, I feel like this next point was very much so planned. Chapter 2 Season 5 and Chapter 1 Season 5 both have a theme of worlds collide and different things being rifted in and all that kind of stuff. The main difference between them is that the 0 point is prominent in Chapter 2, and I think that this was definitely planned. Now, the reason that I think this was planned and that Chapter 2 Season 4 wasn't is because Chapter 2 Season 4 was mainly focused on an IP, which was Marvel, and they had the possibility of them lining that up perfectly, I feel like had to be a coincidence, because they could have done that season any other time, but they just probably had the opportunity then, and if they didn't have that opportunity then, they probably would have done it later, or even sooner. So I don't think that if that season wasn't Marvel, what I'm trying to say, if that season wasn't Marvel, I don't think it would have still been superhero focused. I think it would have been something else. But the licensing had to kind of line up perfectly for them and get them in that spot to release it during their Season 4. But anyway, Season 5 is very similar to Chapter 2 Season 5. They're very similar. They have both POIs that are coming in. They both have all these kind of similarities. Old POIs returning, kind of stuff being rifted in, a desert area as the main new area. Like, come on, it's so integral and it's so integrated into it that even gameplay-wise, not even like storyline-wise, but just gameplay-wise, they just fit so well. The only thing we're missing in this chapter is a overpowered SMG meta. But with this information, I want to go ahead and predict future seasons and what they could be planning for those. Alright, so the original Chapter 1 Season 6 was all about Darkness Rises, but it was also very connected to Halloween. But I feel like this theme could go without Halloween. I think that Season 6 for Chapter 2 could have a very similar theme of Darkness Rising, but with some other force that isn't Kevin, or maybe it could be Kevin, who knows. The 0 point could literally do anything, and by the end of the season, we don't even know if there's going to be an event, but if there's an event this season, it's going to be really hard to predict it, because the 0 point could literally do anything, and we don't know. So, 0 point could bring back Kevin, Darkness could rise with Kevin again, something like that could happen, or some new force could make Darkness rise upon the island, but I feel like something like that could be happening in Season 6. Again, we don't really know any information about future seasons as of now, but just going on with that theory of all the seasons kind of corresponding with a similar theme, they could be doing something like that. Next up is Season 7, which is going to be difficult because Chapter 1 Season 7 was mainly themed around winter and Christmas, which is going to be very hard to do because if the pattern continues and nothing really gets delayed, Season 7 of Chapter 2 would come out around summertime. And that would be really, really weird to have a winter season during summertime, especially when we're kind of already gotten a winter event now. So I don't really know what they're going to do for this one. I feel like this is going to be another one with like a very vague connection, but it's not going to be really in the forefront. Next up, we got Season 8, and Season 8 of Chapter 1 was mainly based around pirates and jungle and stuff like that. I feel like Season 8 of Chapter 2 could easily introduce some pirate-themed areas and some jungle stuff to go along with it. And yeah, honestly, that one wouldn't really be too hard to replicate. It could be in the background, just like the space stuff for Season 3. Maybe just add like one little pirate POI and stuff like that. That would be a cool connection to Season 8. Next up, we got Season 9. Now, Season 9 was all about the future and technology and all this kind of, like, futuristic stuff. And it was also about this whole mecha team leader thing and this battle between a giant enemy force, which could happen again in Season 9. Again, we do not know. This is so far in the future that we don't even have, like, any clues to what this could be. But again, going off the theory, we could predict that Season 9 of Chapter 2 could be about futuristic elements. Maybe they'll make, like, a neo-lazy or, like, something like that. I don't know. They could really do anything with the theme, or, again, it could be another thing in the background, similar to Chapter 2 Season 3 and Chapter 1 Season 3, where the space theme is a just very small thing in the background, maybe just a cosmetic in the Battle Pass, or some side event that happens in the game, again, very similar to Chapter 2 Season 3 and Chapter 1 Season 3. But I think it would be really cool to get some futuristic POIs in Chapter 2 Season 9. Also, seeing another event very similar to Mecha Team Leader versus the Monster would be very, very cool to see. And then last but not least, Season X could have another very similar theming with Chapter 2 Season X, if they decide to call it that. And it could be about going back to the past, bringing back old stuff, all this. I don't even know what Season X was really about. I can't really even explain it in one sentence, to be honest. But yeah, just having some imminent threats looming over the island the whole time that was present back in the day, just bringing back stuff and making everything go full circle. I think is what the best thing that Season X did was bring things around and make everything full circle with the meteor and stuff. I don't know what the key thing that they would bring back is. Maybe the device, maybe the agency would come back. I'm not really sure. Maybe the 0 point would come back. I don't really know. We don't know how the game's going to look at that point, so we don't know what people are going to be nostalgic for. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with that season. And that's pretty much all the seasons that we have, and there's much more that they could do after that. I don't even know if the chapter is going to end after Season 10, because they could just keep it going. The only reason that they made a new map for the last chapter is because last chapter's map was outdated with their engine and with everything they wanted to do. They couldn't do it on that map. Will they be in the same position by the time Season 10 hits of this chapter, or will they just continue with the same map? I have a feeling they'll just continue with the same map and do Chapter 2, Season 11, 12, 13, etc. But we'll just have to wait and see. This whole video is all about speculation and theories, so take all the stuff I said here with a grain of salt. Anyway guys, that's about gonna do it for this video. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe. You can use my support creator Bendominator in the item shop if you want to support me, #ad. Thank you to everybody that uses that code. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.